Deontay Wilder will never be the same fighter after that. And he done a fabulous job and put himself as the number one heavyweight in the world, which is what he is. We adhere to what we agreed to in the negotiation. We wouldn't say anything until it's done, and that's where we are. You don't get any snippets from us. You get it from the snippet man. And there's some good fights to be made with some of our guys. Or if one of them wins a world title, there's certainly some good defences there with the Brits. We've got, obviously, there's Anthony and there's Lyndon. There's a good division, very sexy division for us. Fights like that are very difficult to come back from. Very difficult. When they're talking about a rematch with that bloke, he don't need a rematch with him. But if he does, he wants to do it in about 2 years' time. You don't need a rematch with him right now.
All right, welcome to the Lowdown, brought to you by Unibet. I'm Dev Sahni, and joining me today is the head honcho. It's my boss. It is, of course, Hall of Fame boxing promoter, Frank Warren. How are you, Frank?
I'm all right, Dev. How are you? How are you, employee of the month?
I'm good. Do I get a bonus for that? Just out of interest.
Absolutely, mate. Yeah, it's in the post.
Excellent. Look forward to that. Let's jump right in. So it's fight week. Now, obviously, we lost Frampton versus Herring. However, Kakashi versus Woodstock, that's a pretty good fight to be starting off the year with, right?
Well, it looks like it's going to be, their styles will make it a good fight. There's no doubt about that. And Kakashi, he's like become the sort of new kid on the block, isn't he? He's the champion. And, for Woodstock, to be honest, this is make or break for him. He can't afford to lose this one. So I think we've got the ingredients of a really good fight here. And, fingers crossed we should get something special out of it.
What sort of thing are we looking at for the winner there? I mean, obviously, we've got this Archie Sharp who's in the stable, but he's got that high ranking with the WBO. He seems to be trying to go up that route kind of thing. What have you got in mind for the winner of this fight?
Well, look, that would be a great fight for the winner to fight Archie, which might get some sort of eliminate contest, or go for something like the European. Mm-hmm. But whoever wins will obviously move on to bigger and better things. That's what we'll do for the winner.
Tommy Fury, it's fight number 5. So you've seen him 4 times now boxing. What have you made of his abilities so far, his career so far?
Look, he's a good puncher. He looks the part, but he's still a baby. He's a novice still, as far as boxing's concerned. He's got a very, very high profile due to the reality TV show that he was on, but he is a novice and he can't be rushed. So, it'd be good for him. He's get a bit of the cobwebs out of his system. He's not, that's a good few months since he last fought. Mm. So I want to get him out there and keep him busy this year. So hopefully by the end of the year, he'll be in a position to fight for some sort of title.
Well, how key is activity for him? Because obviously, you see so many prospects when they start off, they're fighting so many times a year because they're learning. But with Tommy, it's like each fight, you can't have him off telly, can you? He's got to be on telly.
Well, because of his profile, that comes with the territory, which actually puts a lot of pressure on him. People want to rush him through now, but obviously I can't let that happen, and nor did his dad allow that to happen. So we just have to temper all that and just keep him busy. And when the right moment comes, we move him right up a gear. But he's capable. There's no doubt about it. He can punch. And he's a tremendous athlete. There's no doubt. Really does look the part.
What about Nathan Heaney? So this is his Queensberry debut. He's the Stoke middleweight. Normally, he's got crazy fans there. There's no fans this time.
It's terrible, isn't it? It's a shame because, he came with us, and as you say, he's where he come from, Stoke, he sells the place out. Tremendous atmosphere as well. I mean, they're very vociferous. They get behind him. And as I say, it's a shame he's not fighting in front of his fans, but we've got to keep him busy. And, he's got to fight. Listen, I'm not saying keep him busy. It's not an easy job for him. It should be a tough fight, I think, that one. No doubt about that.
Well, the thing with that is because he's normally got that rabid fan base. We've seen recently with Josh Warrington, for example, he'd come out, he was doing leads, and there was no one there saying leads back to him. Do you think this could have an effect on him?
Look, I said at the beginning when we were doing these fights, there is no home fighter. You're in an atmosphere where it's a neutral venue. There aren't any home fighters, and I think it's made a big difference. I think it has made a difference, and I think that you're seeing there's some fighters have not trained, not done what they should have been doing in lockdown. Some have really haven't, and some have not been able to for obvious reasons, through mixing and so forth. But, you know, a lot of these opponents are coming in absolutely fit. You know, I mean, really fit guys, absolutely fitter than normal, because there's sod else to do, is there? That's all you can do. Fighting in venues where you're not going into, for want of a better phrase, the lion's den, it is what it is. And as I say, we're getting more out of the opponents, no doubt about that.
Yeah, definitely. Well, last one on Nathan Heaney. I've done an interview with him, which is coming out a little bit later on in the week, where he talked about he does want the British title at some point. Now, the British champion is, of course, Denzel Bentley. Is that a future fight, Frank?
Look, why not? I mean, you know, Denzel's going to be defending his title against Cash. And I'm looking forward to that one. No problem with Nathan. Get a couple more wins under his belt. And that's a great fight. I'm sure, you know, who knows? Like, fight Denzel. If Denzel keeps winning, which I'm very confident about Denzel moves up and he can then fight for the title or fight Denzel. But whatever it is, he'll get his opportunity. I'll make sure it happens for him.
Speaking of opportunities, this is Casey Kademi's time to shine. The young, he fled Afghanistan at 8 years old. What a story leading up to his BT Sport debut. Yeah,
the family had to leave because of the Taliban. He was due to fight, I think, in November, but he tested positive for COVID. But he's only 8-0. He's 8-0, and he's the WBO European champion. So this is a great opportunity for him to shine on TV. It's he's looked after by my nephew and brother. They look after him, so I'm looking forward to seeing him. I think he's going to be. I think he's looking really good, the kid.
Sam Noakes against Delmar Thomas. That's 4-0 against 5-0. Someone's always got to go, huh?
Exactly right. You know, I like Sam, and Alan Smith's done a great job with him. And as you say, Delmar is not a bad fighter either. So that's going to be very, very interesting. And again, it's one of those I'm looking forward to. You know, two guys who, you know, the winner will go on. There's no doubt about that. It's going to be fights like this, early stages of a fighter's career, the winner comes through, it's going to lift him. It's like having another 3 fights when they're getting into competitive fights at this stage. So I'm really looking forward to it. Yeah, you can see there's a bit of a buzz developing around Sam Noakes now. He's hitting good numbers on social media as well. He seems to have a very likable personality. So he's a nice guy. He's a very nice guy, Sam, and and he's a diligent trainer, and he ticks all the boxes. So he's got to tick the box on Saturday, that's for sure. Well, there's 3 debut boxes that are going to be ticked on Saturday as well. You've got 3 debutants: Amar Akbar, Adan Mohammed, Masood Abdullah. How excited are you? I mean, this is what you're all about, isn't it, Frank? It's the kids coming through all the way up until, world title fights, etc. You must be excited. I am excited, and I want to see these kids. They've been waiting a long time, by the way, because of COVID. It's been a shame for them. They've probably had a few fights each by now, but finally we're getting them on. And I'm looking forward to seeing them in action. I really am, and hopefully it's going to be the start of a very successful journey for them. If there's one piece of advice that you could give these kids who are going to watch this interview and thinking, "Oh, Frank's going to be watching me on Saturday," what would you say to them? I would look. You only get out of boxing what you put into it. So it's a dangerous sport, and you can't play it. You have to work hard at boxing. It's the only sport you don't play. It's real. And if you put the dedication and hard work into it, that will come through in the ring. And that's what you've got to do, any young fighter. And I know these guys have been working very, very hard during the lockdown. So I'm looking forward to seeing some impressive debuts. Well, that's 7:30 Saturday night live on BT Sport. Frank, before I let you go, I think there's a few other bits that we should catch up on. You mentioned it earlier on about Felix Cash and Denzel Bentley. There was a feeling that maybe Cash would pull out, but he hasn't, right? Talk to me. Well, everybody's been telling me that, and I see not that I'm on the social media stuff, but somebody sent me a thing of the interview done, which is great. He obviously fancies the fight. And it'd be daft for him to pull out now. It'd be a bit of an embarrassment, wouldn't it? So it's a really good fight. It's a tough fight for both of them, and I'm really, really looking forward to it. And I'm sure hopefully he don't cash in and he actually shows up on the night, and that's all we're looking forward to. So I like to think that he will be there. He's a fighting man.
And has there been contact with Team Cash, with Matchroom?
No, we sent the contracts. When you make the purse bid, you send the contract. So that's it, and we go from there.
Joyce Alexander Usyk. My mouth is watering as I'm talking about this fight. What's going on?
Well, at the moment we're negotiating, and we'll see where we go with the negotiations. So then we'll make a decision.
You're talking with SJAM and Usyk's people and all that, and looking to make it all happen. Is that with an interim title on the line?
Yes, there's an interim title on the line. Yeah.
How good a fight is that?
Well, it's a very good fight, isn't it? There's no doubt about that. It's a good fight. It's a great opportunity for Joe. I mean, you know, he got that in defeating Daniel Dubois, so he's got that fight, and now it could be his big moment. So, you know, we'll see how we go with it now. As I say, we're talking at the moment and see where those talks get us to.
Is that something sort of April, May time we'd be looking to get on, or too early?
April will be too soon. You know, we're in March next week, and they're not going to be ready by April. Early May with a bit of luck.
Daniel Dubois, then, it sounds like he's got himself a new trainer. What's your read on the situation there?
Well, his manager is Martin Bowes, and his brother Tony advises with him, works with him. I think I understand they're having a meeting with Mark Tibbs this week, and then see what happens, and see where it goes.
And have you had a chance to sit down with Daniel yet?
I've met with him a couple of times, and we, you know, he got the all clear last week, so now he can resume training, and he'll be out sometime in May.
Good stuff. And the other one, you know, the big one. I know it feels like everyone's kind of sworn to secrecy around Fury Joshua right now, and you get little snippets here. They're saying it's close, it's going to happen. I don't want to say anything, but can you tell us anything?
Well, you know, we adhere to what we agreed to in the negotiations, that we wouldn't say anything until it's done, and that's where we are. You don't get any snippets from us. You get that from the snippet man.
The snippet man. Well, it's 1 year since Tyson Fury defeated Deontay Wilder. Yeah, where's it gone? What are your reflections now, a year on from that night?
Well, what a fabulous night, and what a great job Tyson did. I mean, he was phenomenal, wasn't he? You know, again, he went into the fight for some reason with a majority of people as an underdog, but he went in there and absolutely destroyed Deontay Wilder. Deontay Wilder will never be the same fighter after that. And you know, he done a fabulous job and put himself as the number one heavyweight in the world, which is what he is.
What have you made of Deontay Wilder's sort of demeanour since then? You know, the stuff with Mark Breland, and he seems to be buying into the conspiracy theories. What do you think of it all?
I'm a bit disappointed because I quite like, as I said before, you know, I quite liked Deontay. He was, you know, it was leading up to the fights. It was, you know, they were obviously, him and Tyson were getting at it, but I had quite a bit of respect for him. But since the fight, it's gone down in my estimation, the rubbish he's coming out with. And certainly, I mean, if anything, he should go and kiss Mark Breland's backside, because Mark saved him from getting a terrible belting.
Josh Warrington, a couple of weeks ago, he was stopped. I'm keen to get your thoughts on this one, obviously, because he came with Queensberry, and, you know, his career went from strength to strength. Elland Road, winning world titles, defending them pay-per-view against Frampton. And what's your read on what happened?
When he came with us, he went from Brick Lane to Park Lane, and we done everything for him. We delivered his dream to him and fighting in Leeds football ground. Everything he wanted, we did, delivering the world title, got him into a position to do it. I worked very hard to get that done, and we've done what we had to do. Watching his fight last week, that first round, he got clipped with a left hook, and he was getting caught with a left hook and the uppercut. And I thought, this fella's going to give him some problems. And I didn't think it, you know, as it sort of all fell apart in the fourth round. And it was, you know, I was quite, you know, it was a shame. I mean, you look at that, you think to yourself, because I told you, I always thought up until then, he was the number one in the world. I don't know why, but you know, he vacated his title, so I don't know what he got paid for the fight or anything. But everything went wrong. everything. You couldn't have had more go wrong than happened that night, culminating into how it ended. And again, fights like that are very difficult to come back from. Very difficult. When they're talking about a rematch with that bloke, he don't need a rematch with him. If he does, he wants to do it in about 2 years' time. You don't need a rematch with him right now.
So you wouldn't be putting him straight back in?
Not with that fella. No, absolutely not. Absolutely not.
What do you think went wrong on that night then? Was it a case of because there was no crowd? Was it underestimating Lara? Was it getting into a tear up with a guy that you don't know much about? Like, what is it?
Well, look, he's always, he's got, he's had tremendous work rate. He normally jumps on people and he doesn't give them any room. He's done that with Carl Frampton. He's done it with quite a few fighters. He's sort of basically put them on the back foot. This fellow's a tough little fighter. I think he had about 10 or 12 knockouts going into that fight. I'm not sure. I know he had a couple of losses early in his career, but he got outgunned. As simple as that. No crowd there. We talked about that earlier, about crowds and how people come to fight more. He just got beat by the better man on the night, and that's it. That's what happened.
Well, let's talk about new signings, Frank. Last week it was announced Callum Johnson has joined Queensberry. How did that come about?
Joe Gallagher contacted us, and we had a meeting. We had a quick phone call. We had a meeting before the last lockdown, and we talked about it. We've had a number of phone calls since, and culminated with us doing a deal with him. So he's now on the Queensberry books, and there's some good fights to be made with some of our guys. Or if one of them wins a world title, there's certainly some good defences there with the Brits. We've got there's Anthony and there's Lyndon. It's a good division, very sexy division for us. And we've got Buatsi out there on the other side of the road. So who knows? We might be able to get some good fights on between them all.
Fingers crossed. From speaking to Callum and Joe last week, it sounded like they wanted to pursue the winner of Joe Smith and Glasov and go that WBO route and try and get that belt. And then, hey, maybe that opens up some big domestic clashes. Is that what you've talked about with them?
No, what's he now? 35?
Yeah.
Yeah, so he's not like he's a baby. He just wants to get out, wants to fight regularly, and he wants to get into big fights. And that's our job to do it, make sure it happens. There's no marking time fights. That's what he wants. He's a fighting man.
When can we expect Callum Johnson to make his Queensberry debut?
He'll get out late April, early May, late April.
Look forward to that. And also, Zach Parker has joined the
WBO number one. WBO number one. With Neil Marsh, he's his manager. We've done a deal with him, and so we're looking to see him in action. I mean this with the greatest respect. He seems to have gone under the radar a bit, for a British fighter who's number one ranked in the world in the world by one of the governing bodies. So we'll get him moving, get a couple of fights, and obviously push for his opportunity to fight for a world title. Billy Joe Saunders is the champion. He looks like he's going to fight Alvarez if he beats Yildirim. So, he's in a good position, Zach, to go to get involved in a very big fight. So it's our job to make sure it happens.
And just on Zach, he's a huge Derby County fan. He's, we did an interview with him. He was just wearing the Derby threads, so to speak. Is that a future stadium fight? Pride Park, Zach Parker?
That's a nice stadium, isn't it? It's a lovely stadium there, and why not? I've got no problems. We've done that with a lot of fighters who are with us, who their dreams were fighting in front of their football club's grounds. We've done that with a lot of fighters, and there's no reason why we couldn't do that with Zach.
Anything else you wanna add before I let you go? Fight week? Any final fight week message?
Tune in. I think we really got a good top of the bill. Kakashi and Woodstock. I think it's going to be a really good fight. A really good fight. I'm hoping so, and I believe it will be.
All right, we'll look forward to it, Frank. Thanks for speaking to me today. Thank you for the Employee of the Month reward. The check, as you said, will be in the post, so I will be
there, mate.
Oh, fantastic. And we'll catch up with you probably in the week.
You're still living in Edinburgh, aren't you?
I am indeed, yeah. All right. Cheers, boss. Take care. Bye-bye.
Yeah,